All right. Hi, welcome to the show. I feel like my guest today is a kindred spirit, not only in hair and penchant for all things 70s, but also in her very similar background, although hers is way superior in terms of achievement and shock value.
I know all about you. You believe that?
Well, I could read at 3 and started high school at 11 and college at 14. But this girl, at age 3, she was in a class of sixth graders and entered college at 13. And she was being molded to be a doctor by the age of 19. Anyway, we'll get her to tell her own amazing story. Please welcome top photographer, vintage clothing entrepreneur, all around genius and all around beautiful and nice human being, Shaira Luna. Hi.
Hello, it's so nice to be talking to someone. I've been able to talk to my dog the whole day.
How are you? Are you locking down alone or with company or?
Yeah, my brother's here, my dad's here, my
Okay.
here, our ate Nympha is here. There are a lot of people in the house, and it's a pretty big space, so sometimes you don't even see each other. We like walk past each other, like we can't find each
Okay.
other. So it's pretty good that we have
What's
this.
been keeping you busy?
Well, I'm really trying to push out my YouTube videos. I
Oh,
started 2 years ago, and then I would upload like once every 2 months because it takes
right.
so long to edit. But now I don't really have an excuse, so it takes 3 days sometimes to really make a whole video, and I'm very like nitpicky about the editing and everything, so it really takes me that long to make a video, but it's pretty fun. I get to dress up every day. I literally go down to the kitchen, then my dad's like, "Saan ka pupunta?"
You can
Really dress
wear
like,
all your vintage every day
yeah,
where to
I'm
go.
always dressed up. Like the first thing in the morning after eating, I'm gonna get ready, and then I'm gonna like the full like everything,
Wow,
jewelry.
as if you were going somewhere.
I was going somewhere, so I think they get amused because like they're just in. They've been wearing for like 2 days, and then here I am with my like platform shoes
At
and
least your
everything.
shoes are not gonna rot. I'm afraid my shoes are all gonna decay and then I can't walk in them anymore.
Yeah, I wonder if I'm still gonna fit into my shoes. I think I should do that as a next YouTube video, like how to take care of your shoes so that you can still wear them after ECQ.
Oh gosh, I read somewhere too that you love uh organizing your things and you love watching storage wars and you love vacuuming. So is there a lot of that going on right now? It's a perfect time to.
Yes, I vacuum every day. I find it a stress reliever. You know, when I was interviewed for Real Living back in 2014, they even included it in the sidebar. Like they
Wow.
quoted me saying, "I love vacuuming." Really, I really do. And now that I have a puppy who stays with us in the room, I really have to vacuum all the time. It's like a nice stress reliever. I mean, not that I'm stressed. I just like vacuuming. I just like the sound of it, and it's sucking all the like bad juju away.
How come
And
you're not stressed? I think you're the first person who has said that you're not stressed. But actually, you are one of the most cheerful, positive, easy to work with artists I've ever
really,
worked with, right? You don't even have like a mad streak or even like creative license to freak out or throw a tantrum or I've never seen you get mad. Is that really your disposition or
I think I'm pretty much like this. When I was 11 and I had dengue, the doctor said I got out of the hospital really fast because I kept laughing. I believe that's what they said. And then I remember I always used to read Reader's Digest. There was a section there called Laughter's the Best Medicine.
yes?
For it, I would buy Reader's Digest just for that and for the jokes at the back. Yeah, it's just always been me. If I'm working, I don't think there's a reason to get mad or like be bossy. Yeah, it's just not. Just not me.
And all these things that are happening right now, this it never get to you. Like if you had become a doctor like you were being groomed to be, do you ever imagine like watching our frontliners saving lives? Is there like just a tinge of like uh wishful thinking that I could have been doing that, saving lives, or is it like no thank you, I'm so
Um,
glad I'm not?
no, the people who are doing it now, those are the people who can do it better, and they're the ones meant to do it. And I think that's it takes a calling to be able to do
Right.
that. Um, I even before this whole thing, every time someone asks me like, "Don't you regret not being a doctor?" I'm like, I know, I will be the first one to cry. I cannot. I get attached. So no, I cried
Oh,
over. I remember I cried over a lizard when I was
oh,
like 9 or something, and we pushed the refrigerator, and there was like a lizard under it, and then like of course it got squashed, and I was like crying. I mean, I can't. I have an attachment to things and living things. I
right.
think I'm able to from
Oh,
comes to
your audio is
I just can't. So I'm totally in awe. I don't know how they.
okay. Slow down. Your audio is uh weak. Can you hear me? Hi, Shaira. Hi, Shaira. You froze. You kind of
Yeah,
froze.
my internet.
Oh, okay. There. Uh-oh.
Better.
Hello? Hi, keep talking so we can hear you.
Okay, I'm back.
There. Okay. Can you hear me?
There. Okay. Yes, loud
All
and
right.
clear.
Oh, so, but did you dissect the lizard afterwards? Because I read that you and your brother like to dissect things and study their
Oh,
anatomy.
oh yeah. So weekends, they would go to the market and also buy us a pig to dissect.
Oh my God.
So I know that was our like kind of Saturday morning activity. If they could find one in the market, because I think you can always get a pig's heart in the market,
Oh,
or
can
like the
you?
brain. But we really usually have the whole. And I really, took a like scalpel. Yeah, and then I cut it open, and then I'd look at my book, and then compare the drawings to the. I was never freaked out by blood or stuff like that. I'm not really. I don't get queasy. I don't. Like I'm fine with it. Like if I had to. If I were a surgeon, I'd be totally fine. I also used to watch. I watched two operations, two surgeries, and I remember I was like right in there, like looking at it.
How old were you at that time?
I was 9.
Maybe let's take them back to your history. So I read uh, in your Wikipedia that
Oh,
there's an article actually with the headline "Parents of 2-year-old genius seek help."
yeah.
So this vision of your parents, like, oh my God, our 2-year-old. I think you could read and write at 1 or something, and at age 3 you had the intelligence of a 6th grader.
Yeah. I
Can you
mean,
tell us a little bit about that?
it's I wouldn't believe myself if there weren't all these like clippings, because my mom had multiple copies of every single article that was published. So sometimes I find it weird. Yeah, I see the actual newspaper and I'm like, fine, like it was true. I Yeah, so apparently I remembered everything they taught, and I had a photographic memory.
Okay.
So one of the games I think we used to play was I would look at a page or like scan through the book, and then they would ask me, or they would tell me the picture on the page, and then I could say like what words were on there, and vice versa. So apparently I could remember things like that. And I just sing. I think my nose was just always buried in books, or I was painting, or I was reading the newspaper or the encyclopedia. Yeah, and my room had all those charts on the wall.
Right.
Not just species, we had like the skeletal system and all the different systems, and then we had planets and all the flags and the capital. So I think kind of a playroom slash classroom before, and I think that's where I would spend most of my time, I think.
But for you, it was all in good fun, right? And
Well, I
then
mean, it's not like any better, yeah.
right. And then until I remember you had a talk in Cebu for Cosmo, and that's where
Yeah.
you told us that the Department of Education and Culture and Sports actually took you on a national tour just to show you off to like other kids, kind of like a to show you off as a paragon of like look how smart this little kid is. And what is your recollection of that, if any, and how did you feel at the time?
I think the tours happened later. So this was around high school already. But when I was two, it was mostly newspapers. So I think that's how the word got of a genius child or like a gifted child. I think that was 1989. So it's really all over the newspapers. I think all the headlines that day were like my chubby face. Because if I look at dates of all the
Very
newspapers,
cute.
same. Yeah, I was like this big, but I bangs. I look exactly the same. I just look like this. So yeah, there were, like most of the headlines were like genius, may may mataas na IQ or yung next Einstein. Like the headlines were like
Right.
so.
And then you became a pro mill kid, right? So that's when
Uh,
like you
I
really became nationally famous as a pro mill kid.
promo thing
Oh, we
95.
can't hear
So
you
there's
again.
kind of a gap. Um, oh, the promo thing happened 95. So there's kind of a long gap when I wasn't in the spotlight, I guess. But between those, like during years, I was doing the same thing. I was just always studying and always reading. Yeah, I don't think I ever stopped studying. Like I
Right.
always had to do something. That was the training we've had since we were like tiny. We've always just been doing something. So I think it's crossed over even into adulthood. Like I can't not be doing anything. So
Never idle. And
no.
then, so you entered pre-med in LaSalle, a human biology course at age 13. Was that your choice or was it your parents' choice or did you actually agree with their plans for you to be a doctor or you didn't know any better because you were 13?
Well, ever since I was small, I mean, it was always I'm gonna be the next doctor. Um,
Right.
I think it was the only picture I had in front of me. Like if I were a bunny, that would be the carrot. Like it was just me looking at it. Like I wasn't looking anywhere else because every other thing that I was able to do or excelled at, for example, like arts or music or like sports. I wasn't really good at sports, but I also tried. But else was just second to academics or second to the dream of becoming a doctor. I had a lot of dreams. I wanted to become an astronaut. I wanted to become a general surgeon. I wanted to become the next Dr. Doolittle. Like I wanted to talk to animals. I mean, how does that happen? I wish that could happen, but it was my dream to be a Dr. Doolittle. Um, so yeah, it was really my choice to take up human biology, and I picked the fastest way out of there.
Okay. Right.
Um, UP has one that's 7 years,
Yeah,
and
the
then
internet.
yeah, LaSalle has 6 years. I'm like, I'm
Wow.
taking. Want to get this done. And also LaSalle's the closest university to where I live because I'm from the south. So
Right.
like not imagine myself traveling super far to UP or any other school. It was really just LaSalle. So I chose one course and one school. I didn't take anything else, no other entrance exams, like nothing else. It was the carrot. Like that was it.
So you uh, enter college, you're 13, everyone is what, 18? What was that like?
60. Well, it was really different because in high school I kind of knew everyone and we were
Oh, right.
it was a really small high school, so you're kind of comfortable with everyone else. But college, oh my god, like if you don't have a heart of steel, like I don't know, it's pretty hard because you come across people that you've never encountered before. They talk differently. It's like a completely different culture that nothing really can prepare you for, unless you know grew up in a big school. But I didn't, and I didn't have a big circle of friends. I was really just studying, extracurricular activities, doing my ABS work or my writing work or whatever it is that I did. So it was a bit of a culture shock. Um, yeah, it was so different for sure. It was a little it was hard. It was hard in college. Like I didn't know what my place should be, if I should really excel or try to kind of dumb myself down just to be normal. It was a struggle for sure.
Right, because I remember my own experience, right? I entered high school at 11. Everyone was 14 or 15, and they were all like valedictorians of such and such high school. And because I was tall, they didn't know I was 11. Because I could pass, right?
That's
But the
it.
emotional maturity was like really lagging behind. I wasn't allowed to go to parties because I was 11. So there was that. What did you go through, and how did this finally lead up to your one day? I think you said one day you just walked out of class and went to a mall and wandered into a camera shop, if I remember the story right.
Well, we have like exactly the for lunch. They went to the nearby mall. You know, they could ride the jeep, the LRT. But me, like when I got out of class at 5:50, my dad would be outside the gate by 5:55. Like there was no escaping. I became so paranoid that someone was watching me. So even like I didn't go out of class during the university during lunchtime because I was pretty sure I was being trailed. Like
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
that paranoid. They were so bantay. It when did I go out? I think I bought a camera in my was it third year of college. But yeah, I was definitely in college, and then I just wanted to buy a camera because I was like sneaking out to watch gigs. So I went to Robinson's Place, Manila.
Manila.
Yeah. What did I take? I think I took a cab. Yes, I was so proud. I took a cab by myself, and then I bought like a cab. It was pretty expensive for that
Right.
time. Um, I just really wanted to take pictures during the gig, and I somehow managed to buy the camera with my savings from it was either ProMill or whatever bank.
Oh,
I had to talk to the bank manager and say, "Look, this is my money. Like, let me withdraw it. I haven't touched it since I was like 9 or something. Like, I need this because I want to buy a camera." So at least the bank manager was nice, and then I was able to
wow.
get a signature from was it my Lola or just an adult because you need that. And yeah, I was able to buy the camera, and I would just shoot during the gigs. It was nothing. I just wanted the camera, like no. For nothing at all. I just wanted to record it. I just wanted it like a diary.
And then you said that you shifted courses 6 times. First of all, the first time that you shifted, how did you come to that decision, and how did you even tell your parents that I'm
Mm.
not going to be a doctor anymore?
I think by the second year of college, it was really exasperating already because I would see my classmates studying. They were really into their books. They were dreaming about what their clinics would look like, what if they were going to go to the States and continue their studies there. But I wasn't even thinking of that. I couldn't bring myself to like appreciate the book or the textbook. I had no zero drive to study. So I'm like, what am I do I even want to become a doctor? I think second year was when I started asking myself that question.
Right,
I never
right.
asked myself that question. I was just doing it and doing it and doing it, and then it kind of hit me like maybe I don't want to become a doctor. Like maybe that's why I've been skipping class. Maybe that's why I had no drive to study. All my life, you know, I would like study and read without people telling me. I was like a walking encyclopedia. I was like a
Right.
mini girl. If anyone asked me like, "What is the chemical something something?" I would like answer like that. So I was a hit at like family gatherings or whatever. But I never asked myself, like, do I actually want to become a doctor? And I realized, maybe there's something else. Like maybe I should remove my, you know, little flaps on my eyes and kind of see what's around me and, you know, see the world for the first time.
And also, you were 14, right? Like,
Yeah.
To decide on the course of your life at 14 is no mean feat, and you must have been so gutsy to
Well,
do that.
at the time, I wouldn't say I didn't see myself as gutsy. I think it was
Right.
parang buntong hininga, like
Ayoko na, ganun.
parang maybe there's something else out there because
Right.
I wasn't even a doctor, but I was already feeling like burnt out. So how
Oh,
much
yeah.
continued? Like, I don't want to be irresponsible. I don't want to do that to my patient. Like, I don't want to be treating someone and, talking to the family of the sick, but, deep down inside, like, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be that. If I'm going to have a profession, I want to be honest about it, and I want to give my 100%. And I just didn't feel like being a doctor would, like, I would be able to give myself that way if I really became a doctor. But at the same time, I didn't know what I was going to do.
At least you knew what you didn't want to do, right?
I
So,
think that
how did you tell your parents? This is something that many Filipinos are really terrified about, displeasing their parents, me included. Like, they chose my course for me, I didn't know any better. Okay, that's what my parents said. So, how did you tell them, and how did they react?
I didn't.
You didn't tell them. So, you pretended to be still
Yeah.
in that course. How long did this go on?
I was pretty sneaky. I think I was already in my first term in the new course. I wanted to shift to comm arts actually, but we weren't allowed to shift to comm arts, so I was in org comm. So I mean, there's a little conflict at home already. Like, it was already hard for me to talk to people at home or to my family because it's like I really had no drive. Like, I guess they could see it. Like, I wasn't the 1995 promo kid who was just so driven
Right,
to
right.
be, to get all the awards and to be able to recite everything from memory. Like, I just wasn't that kid anymore. So I mean, I'm sure it was a bit of a shock for them, or maybe a disappointment, or like confusion. I think they were confused, like, what happened, like, what snapped. So yeah, I didn't really tell them until
Until when? Until you had already
I don't know. I
decided?
can't really remember anymore because like those years of college seem like a blur because
Okay.
I didn't know what I was doing. I just didn't want to become a doctor. I just didn't want to continue my pre-med studies. So that was all I knew. And I kept floating around in college. I took orgcom, and then I shifted to psychology because I heard that a new course was opening. So I wanted to wait for that course, and I had to shift again because the subject requirements were different. I mean, that's the story of my shifting. It was more of the class or the course requirements. But the courses I shifted to were influenced mostly by a stint that I don't talk about often, or
Wow, what stint is that?
not many people know. I was in ABS-CBN from 1997 until 2000.
Right. You had your
I was
own you had your own segment, right? Like a science segment?
I was a segment host at first, and that was 97. And then eventually they gave the segment to me to do everything, to produce, to backpack, to write the script for. And I was really getting nostalgic about this because of the news yesterday. So I remembered like all my times there. I remembered how early I used to wake up and prepare my script and prepare for the live. Yeah, it was really, really good training. And I think that influenced me to kind of shift, or it made me realize there's just so much more out there than being a doctor, because I was interviewing people from different industries. I was talking to a lot of students. I was covering a lot of events. So that really opened my eyes to what else was available. So I think that had a big thing to do with my wanting to shift. I just saw the world.
And then how did you eventually decide that you wanted to be a photographer? Or at first
Uh,
it was a hobby, right? You said that you dabbled and you did KBL, Kasal, Binyag Libing.
this was after I left college.
Oh, okay.
So I was just shooting gigs, and like not gigs, like I wasn't gigging, I
Okay.
was watching gigs and
You're
taking pictures. It wasn't a gig, I was like watching and shooting, like just like our phone now, if we watch a
right,
member,
right.
clicking, just like that. And then I left college in 2006, at first it was LOA, like leave of absence lang. And then I tried to do my thesis, and then I took another leave of absence, and then di na ako bumalik. And then I think that's when I started watching more gigs, and kind of, yeah, it was really just all gigs actually. I just took pictures in bars, and I was just always hanging out, and I would get approached by some of the artists like, what are you doing? We always see you taking pictures, because I was
Right.
just in the corner. I wasn't really very sociable. Like I was still kind of shy, despite all my ABS training and all my Department of Education training. In social situations, I was never really very good. I think I'm still like that now. There's some of that left. So if you don't see me after 12 midnight at social events, that's why. um, yeah, I was just always taking pictures, and eventually they'd ask me to shoot them or shoot the band, or uy, pa-share naman ng photos kasi lalagay nila sa Friendster nila.
Friendster.
Oh, and then multiply. So I would just post my photos there. I'd also post my photos on Flickr, photo.net, really just as a hobby. And it wasn't until people started noticing my photos or appreciating the photos from the camera, because I would show them on the little tiny screen.
Right.
Galing naman, ay nakakatuwa naman. So that was something new, because this was the only thing I didn't take lessons for.
Okay, so you're self-taught, completely self-taught.
Self-taught, and I realized this. I realized that when people were interviewing me, they're like, why did photography make you so happy, or why did you suddenly get into it? And then I realized no one forced me to take lessons.
Oh.
Like, no one told me to take up photography. No one said that I should try photography. Because everything else, I was in voice lessons and music lessons and arts.
Oh, I see.
I was enrolled in every single thing I could fit into, and it was different pala, like being appreciated for something that wasn't pounded into you. So, well, I guess, I mean, that's how I think about it now. Maybe that's why I
So
really like it.
when did you start to do it professionally? I remember you said before you started with, like, no job was too small for you. Like, you'd shoot products and find joy in shooting products, and then you'd shoot events. I remember seeing you at events. Like, there's this cute little girl shooting
Black
events.
Like, people remember my black face, so when people haven't seen me in a long time, they're like, wow, you are wearing prints. um, I used to shoot, so I was shooting bands, right? And then I guess I would meet the owners of the bars, and they say, nag-shoot ka ba ng pagkain? And me naman, I'm like, how
Pwede.
can that be any different from shooting artists under lights? Ang hirap pala. You can't, like, it's hard. So, but I would just take it, and the owners knew naman I was just a hobbyist.
Right.
So they were fine with whatever output I gave them, and then I would start to design their posters. So I'd have all the band's photos, and I'd have all the sponsors. I'd be laying out their brochures and their posters, and then unti-unti yan, for example, the singer of the band would say, "Can you take my portraits? Like, I just want beauty portraits." So I do that. Or like one of the band members would have a kid with a birthday, and then I'd take that also. I just
Okay.
anything. Like, I would take anything, and one thing leads to another. Like, these unexpected like things to shoot, they just pop out of nowhere, and then I guess I just try to take as much as I could, because it was so fun for me. It was so challenging. There were so many things I didn't know how to shoot, and so many things that just made me go, oh my god, what did I get into? Like, I hope I'm not wasting anyone's time. So yeah, that's how I started. I would shoot events as well. I think that could be the start of shooting professionally, because I had to get paid for events. So I was an event photographer for many years, like a lot of
Oh,
years.
okay.
And that was such good training. Oh my gosh,
Oh.
my dog. That was such good
Hi,
training.
Mexico. Can we meet Mexico?
Mexico, come here. Come on. Come here. Come here. She's wondering
Oh.
why I'm talking this much, because there's no one to talk to here.
Like, why is there a voice?
But yeah, events were pretty good. It was also a little hard because I would get recognized when I shot events. And
As the pro milk kid or from TV?
both. So those were also the times where I was like questioning myself, just because they were questioning me. So I'd be like, what what's wrong with me shooting? Because they'd always like point at me and they'd say, oh, di ba ikaw yung genius? Di ba mali? Nagawa mo yan? Like, why are you shooting? And then ako naman, I didn't look at it that way. Like, I didn't realize
Right.
that's what it looked like to them. So, I'd come home after a shoot, I'd be like, what, did I do something wrong? Like, um, is this any less than what I'm supposed to be doing in life? I don't think that ever got me down though.
Yeah, so the weight of people's expectations never affected you? Like, would they say,
Of course, it was lingering. Like, it was at
right,
the back of my head because it would happen all the time. I just always, if I was perched on top of a chair shooting like the group photo at a wedding, like there's bound to be a tito or tita to say like, oh, sabi ko na nga ba dapat di na lang nag-promil yung pamangkin ko, stuff like that.
oh my God.
Yeah, like it was always like that, and it just never went away. But I kept shooting because I was enjoying. I would laugh it off, and I'm sure they were laughing at me, but I didn't laugh at myself because I knew I was moving at least. Like I wasn't bumming around at home. Like I knew I would eventually find what I wanted to do, and if this is how I'm spending the year learning, then that's fine. Things take time. Great things take time.
How did that sense of optimism and like ability to not be affected by what people say, how did that develop in you? And how come you're like such a tough kid about it? All your
Well,
life, people were saying you can be a doctor, these are our plans for you, and you just shrugged it all off.
I think it's partly due to my parents because they made me very responsible. If there's one thing I can really credit them for, it's that like I have a good strong foundation, and it wasn't always like all flowery at home. Like it was tough. There was a lot of conflict growing up. So like these things in the outside world, they were kind of nothing really, like nothing compared to when I was growing up. And it's there's always another day. There's always tomorrow. And I realized, nothing would happen if I just sulked about things. And as I
Right,
said, like I can't, not do things, and I'm always distracted. I guess that's why I don't get affected because I don't linger. I
right,
don't I don't really, think about something too hard or too deep. I'm just always moving, always using my hands. I'm always
right.
using these big eyes of mine. I mean, of course, there are days when you sit down and you wonder, like, tama ba sila? Like, tama ba yung sinabi niya? But wala, you have to keep moving. You can't let it affect you because sayang yung oras eh.
But you would snap out of it quickly, I guess. And they say that people who are anxious, people are anxious because they're living in the future. They're so worried about the future scenario. And obviously, for you, as long as you were happy at that moment, it was fine, right? So when did you decide, okay, I'm gonna be a photographer, and what are my plans? Did you start planning and strategizing about your new career, or not even?
You know what we have in common? I read that
What?
you. No plans. I mean, I don't really, I take it as it comes,
Right.
because my whole life was planned. And like I said, I'm the rabbit with a carrot. Like my whole life.
Same, exactly the same. I didn't really plan to be an editor.
I think it's the preparation. I think it's really that foundation that allows you to be brave. Like the minute you take that off, like, you're confident about your abilities and you kind of know parts of yourself,
Right.
that you can be strong. You don't know that yet. You don't know you're strong until you encounter something.
Yes.
But I think it's really being brave. And also I read a lot of like adventure books when I was small. So I think that's
Okay.
where this, kind of bravery comes from. Like if all the kids in the books I read ended up finding the treasure or making it back home, then I
Yeah.
I could do that too. I don't think I really decided that I was going to become a photographer. The shoots just kept coming. I mean, I hope it was because I was really enthusiastic about shooting. Every single shoot I did, whether I was shooting a product or whether I was shooting like candy wrapper or something, like it was big where I had to shoot like collectible greeting cards. Like, who shoots these things? But I would put the same amount of effort and enthusiasm into everything, and I just hope that kind of helped attract attract the shoots, because they didn't really stop coming. I'm just wondering why, and I don't think it has anything to do with me being a promo kid or people recognize.
Right.
I mean, I hope not. Really hoped it would be because of my hard work, and I didn't even tell my colleagues, like in ABS or anyone. I didn't ask for help from anyone.
Right.
I could have, but I didn't want it like that. I really wanted to experience everything, and I really wanted to figure out if I could do this without the former promo kid title hanging, in the
Yes.
cloud. And I got lucky, I guess. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how the shoots kept coming, but they did. I just tried to do my best every shoot, because
I'm sure, and I'm sure your work spoke for itself, right? But
I
how
hope.
did you start getting jobs in fashion? And what was your first big break that led to all the major fashion jobs? When did you start to get like noticed for your fashion photography?
My very first fashion editorial was in 2006, but I didn't know what a fashion editorial was.
Oh, wow.
This was in Sense and Style magazine back in 2006. And I was asked by the editor, he said, "We read somewhere, I think I was featured in a newspaper, that you're into photography. Would you be interested to shoot some clothes with us?" And then it turned out to be like a wedding primer, so I had to shoot groomsmen.
Wow.
What?
What people? Live people?
Yeah, I was so nervous because I was shooting alongside an actual fashion photographer, and he was shooting the wedding gowns. And then I just remember this was in a restaurant in Addition Hills. You know that really nice restaurant, Chef Jean's restaurant.
Ah, Cafe Isabel?
Isabel, yeah, that was for my first, and it was like this old Filipino Spanish, like very pretty stained glass. So I remember being really overwhelmed. Like, I was looking at the photographer's camera, and like, oh my gosh, he has like a big lens. He has like a big camera, and he has lights. I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. So yeah, that was my first fashion editorial, and I didn't realize I didn't realize it. I would continue to shoot portraits mostly after that. I would do occasional fashion shoots for PR, but I don't think that's really considered fashion editorials, because I was shooting for a lot of PR firms back
Right,
then. Their
right.
events, whenever there were events, I'd be, taking photos of the guests. I'd also shoot the press material. So whatever they
Right.
gave to the press, I'd be the one shooting that. Sometimes I also wrote the press materials, just
Wow.
all around. Oh my gosh, I had to rehash articles. Um, I really tried to do everything, and also because I had a background in ABS, so I was able to write, but I'm not a good writer. And then fashion, I think, really started picking up in 2011 or 2012, and I'd like to think all my portraiture and all the food photography and product photography that I did kind of prepared me for shooting fashion, because I learned the technical side of photography with food and product especially. It's quite difficult. I was a food photographer for 3 years before really before really getting into fashion, and a lot of people don't know that either. I shot for a lot of restaurants and hotels. Yeah, that
And
was.
all along, you were just self-taught. Like nobody taught you how to light. How did you know? How do you light the food? How do you light the people? What equipment do you need? Or how did
I
you learn all that?
I love looking at images,
Okay.
whether it's in a magazine or on a billboard or on a cover of a book. I try to observe and look at the light and see where it comes from. I was very observant, even though I didn't really know the technical side of it. I just loved looking at pictures. I loved imagining scenarios to myself. Like, what if someone asked me to light it like it was 6 a.m.? Like, what does the light look like at 6 a.m.? would have
So
been
the
so.
nerd in you came out from dissecting pigs' hearts. You started dissecting photographs and analyzing what went on behind the making of them, right?
Next time someone asks me this question, I'm gonna answer that. Answer, I guess that's a good point. That's fair enough. Yeah, it's probably that. It's kind of deconstructing the image and then figuring
Right,
where it came from. So when I started shooting fashion, because fashion editorials always have pegs, right, and a mood
right,
board
right.
and things you're inspired by. So to me, I applied the same thing. Like I kind of deconstructed the photo. I'm like, how did they like this? So it was the same principle, but of course, in fashion, you can be a little softer, and there's a lot of movement. And this time, you actually had to direct. Not
Yes. And how does an introvert, a very shy, they called you shy Shira, right?
I
How does
did.
shy Shira, the introvert who spoke to no one, suddenly direct shoots and talk to models?
I
And
remember one of the models when I was like early in my fashion career, she said, and she's Brazilian, so I don't think she meant to be rude, but they have this accent. They're like, I can't
yes.
hear you. So she's like, oh my god, oh my god. And then lamig ako. I was like, is she mad? Like, oh, she wasn't mad pala. She really just can't hear me. So I had to, if I wanted to make the shoot finish faster and if I wanted to get things done, I would have to make my voice louder and I'd have to tell
yes.
what I needed and and my idea of what I wanted to shoot. I quickly realized that the way to get things done fast is to communicate. no,
Yes.
no matter how I was like, I have to do this because everyone's time is
Yes.
hanging and there's sobrang kulang sa oras. I'm very conscious about time. Like I'm always like tapos sa oras. Yeah, I just wanted to get things done fast, and it's nice communicating because you get ideas from everyone. That's also one more thing I learned. Shooting fashion, you can't just follow the mood board. Sometimes the creative director or the editor will have a different idea pala, and then you shot something else. So paano na, right? So I
Right.
learned I had to talk to everyone from the makeup artist to the hairstylist, like to the owner of the restaurant. I guess if we were shooting a restaurant, can I move this? Can I move that? Like what time is the best? What time does the sunlight come in? I would just always talk. I would slowly talk to everyone. So that's what I do up to now. I kind of make my rounds and say hi. And
So you were forced to speak.
I was forced to speak back then, but now I can't not do that. Like
Right.
I have to be very comfortable with everyone. And sometimes the best ideas come when you're just eating around, like
Yeah.
you're at the catering, and then you say, "Ay, sana may ganito," no? And then someone's gonna come up with idea, and then, hey, we can do that for the shoot later. We can show the art director.
Yeah.
Like the best ideas just come from those little brainstorming sessions that were, never really planned.
So now you have your own distinct style in in the fashion photography scene here, and your photographs. When we see them, everybody says it's very Shaira Luna. It's very cinematic. There's always a story behind it. It takes you to a certain place and time. How did you develop this kind of style, or did you always envision to have that kind of style?
No, I never had a vision for photography. Oh my gosh, no. Because I didn't dream of becoming a photographer. So even if I said like I want photography as my career, I didn't have a vision of like what Shira's style is gonna be. I never, like honest to God, never had that concept. Like I didn't dream of becoming this kind of photographer, this kind of photographer. I wanted to
Right.
that was it. I just wanted to shoot. And then I guess like the more things I shot, maybe that's how it developed. Because if you ask different people, they're gonna say different things about my photography. My commercial photography is so different from my editorial photography. And like even us in Cosmo, right? Like when you shoot for
Yeah.
Cosmo, right, it's really well lit and it's glamorous. But then I shoot for like these younger, like cool, like really raw magazines, and it's totally different. And but they
Right.
say that's my style. So I think I just kind of like being able to adjust. It's also picking up from all the shoots I used to do before. Like I try to like adapt and fit myself into all these kinds of shoots because I enjoy them equally. It's really still so much fun for me.
But actually, my next question is, even when you were able to mix your artistic projects with your commercial projects, the Shaira Luna stamp still shines through. I remember before, I think the first time we were considering you to shoot a Cosmo cover, I think I was a hesitant one because although I admired your work very much, I thought, well,
Immediately Cosmo.
Cosmo is the cover formula, right? The women have to look a certain confident way. The lighting's pretty much uniform. How's she going to do that? But then we decided to get you, and we were so happy because you made the pictures very Cosmo yet very Shaira Luna. How do you do that? How do you achieve that?
You know, I don't. I mean, everyone can light. Everyone can learn how
Right.
to light. And like for just to give as an example, Cosmo is a very specific image. We
Yes.
have a post book, right? The one we bring to shoots, and
Yes. Yes.
these are the poses the models have to do. I think it's really, it could be how I talk to the subject, maybe. I think it's the interaction, getting them at the exact moment between a pose and letting go. I think
Yes.
that's what I like to capture because anyone
Exactly.
can light. Anyone can light the way I light, you know? But I think it's really the connection or how you capture that connection. I think that's what makes it interesting and memorable. And, it's, I don't know, it's the magic.
And as you say, even when you get commercial projects, I'm sure they choose you for a specific reason, right? They choose you over others because of your style, and yet they have their own style. Are you ever caught in between different styles or different kinds of aesthetics? And how do you mix the two? Or do you kind of coax them into trying to see things your way and say, what if we do it this way?
I think I try to get a feel of who I'm talking to first, and
Right.
I try to look into the background of who I'm shooting for. I think that's something I learned also over the years. Yung pakikiramdam,
Yes.
you have to have that kind of what's the word for that? Like
Timpla.
you sense, like you try to
Oh, yeah.
read people, you
Right.
try to get a feel of people. So if I feel like there's someone who's open to trying something different, I'm probably going to suggest it. But if I know that person has come in with a specific image in mind, I'm going to like commit to that. I'm going to make that happen for that person because I'm shooting for them. It's not about me. I'm shooting for them. There's always that, that's how I'm able to, I guess, spread myself. Like if I'm doing it for work, I will do it for you. This is my job. There's always a time for my personal work. There's always a time to be me. But when I'm on set, I'm a photographer and they're my client.
So you never get into conflict with, like, oh, I have to compromise and do it that way, but that way sucks.
Sometimes, but it's not always my feelings at stake. There's a lot
Right.
of money involved. There are a lot of other factors involved, and I just try to leave myself out of the equation and consider all those other things. And whatever can make a shoot go smoothly, I'm all for that. I don't want any conflict on set, and conflicts always happen, especially in advertising shoots. So I just listen to everyone, and that's why I always say communication is important. Like you have to ask them. So you can ask a creative director what he wants, and then you ask the client, and then they want something different. You like have a mini meeting and then decide before you shoot. It just pays to always ask. And I like to give options because not everyone can describe what they want in a photograph. Not everyone can describe the lighting they want. So I usually show them examples of lighting, and then I ask them to choose. And it makes them so happy because all of a sudden, that, yes, that's the lighting we want. No, we don't want.
Options.
So yeah, people are very visual, even if they're not creative. Like you don't have to be a creative to see and decide based on pictures. So that's what I like to do. I always try to give them options, and then that sort of make things smoother for everyone.
What was the most difficult challenge you ever encountered for a shoot, or uh, with a certain client or a certain situation that you had a hard time getting through, and how did you get through it?
I think it's always a hard time when the client isn't on set.
Oh, okay.
because you have to shoot, and then like the client will come in and then say, oh, that's not what I wanted. But we can't move on with the shoot if the client is somewhere else doing something else, and then they come and then you have to do it all over again. So that's why communication is very important. Those are always the hardest shoots because everyone just gets so tired, and having to do it all over again. Hair and makeup isn't easy. If the client says she wants kulot na lang instead of straight, that's not magic. Like, still, right? It's not just kulot kulot. There's a certain way of doing things, even the makeup. So pre-production meetings are important. Those usually lessen the stress that you have on it. So before the ECQ, so they do
Oops.
the shower scene. They wanted to do a shower scene in the middle of the shoot. Oh, hello?
Yes, could you rewind a little bit? I think we lost you there.
So before the ECQ, it was a beauty shoot. We were shooting a lot of products, like from body to hair and soap and shampoo. And then they wanted to do a fresh washing of the face in the middle of the shoot. And then no one was saying anything. I was like, but would that be a concern? Because if the foundation is gonna run, and it's not like you can just cover it up, because foundation for advertising shoots has layers, and it's not as simple as that. So well, the makeup artist and the client had a small discussion, and everyone was enlightened, like, oh, that's how it works. So these are things you also learn along the way. That's why I like talking to makeup artists. I like talking to hairstylists because their work is not easy, and every single person on set has a purpose. So it's really nice to know everyone and get familiar with the work people do.
What were some of the projects or milestones in your photography career that you're proudest about, or you got the most thrill? Like, I don't know, maybe your first cover or your first dream editorial. I remember you were so excited about your trip to Paris for an ad campaign.
Yeah, I was so excited. I was shooting a lot of fashion editorials, and then I did advertorials. That was like a concept to me. Like, what's an advertorial? I think that was the first time I got a taste of what it would be like to shoot for a brand, because you had to sell the clothes, right? And then after I did an advertorial for that brand, the mother company got me to shoot for their women's wear. And the question, actually, the brand manager asked, like, do you shoot girls? Like, yeah, I shoot.
Why?
Because we were shooting, it was a very urban concept. It was dark, it was streetwear. There's smoke, and then the model had smoky eyes. He was this big hunk with abs and stuff. And it was really not a Shaira shoot, I guess, if you're a Shaira shoot. So he was probably thinking I was a hip urban street photographer, which I'm not. It's like, do you shoot girls? Yeah, I shoot girls. Okay, we'd like to try you for our brand, because we have a women's wear brand. And yeah, I shot a Christmas catalog sort of campaign for them, and it went well. It was all nice, bright lighting, very Cosmo lighting, actually, lots of studio lights. And then I started shooting a lot for that brand, and then I started shooting for the other brands in that company. And I think that has got to be one of the most happy things in my career, getting to shoot for that company. I shoot for four of their brands, and it's every year. And I think I'm really lucky, because sometimes they change photographers every 3 years, but I've been with them since 2012.
Wow, so 8 years.
I'm kilig, syempre. Everyone really stays with them that long. They've been so loyal. I think it's just one of the greatest, I guess, blessings in my career to be able to shoot for that company. You know who you are.
And these days, I was just talking about it with Raymond Isaac. I think these days, in order to be a successful photographer, makeup artist, hairstylist, and because it's the age of social media, I think you kind of need to be affiliated with a celebrity. You kind of gotta hitch your wagon to a star, a literal star, What's your opinion about that? Although, of course, you are always top of mind by some of the biggest stars that we have.
I'd like to think that I would still have a good career with or without being attached to a certain celebrity,
Right.
because take away that name, even if you don't put that name there, I think it's still the photograph that will speak. So, I mean, it's important, but it's not everything. I enjoy it. I enjoy shooting portraits, whether they're celebrities or not. I think some photographers will enjoy having that connection, and I love all the celebrities I shoot. I mean, it's not any different from a model I'm gonna shoot or my neighbor who I shoot like every week.
And what would be your advice for like a big somebody just starting out and maybe they're dismayed that, oh, but then all the big jobs and campaigns are celebrity driven, and so the celebrities are the ones who insist on the glam team and the crew. What advice can you give somebody like that who only has his talent and not many connections?
That's the thing. Everything's shifting now.
All right.
Everything's shifting now. Celebrities are not only the people you see on TV, and everyone is on social media, and the platform is almost becoming kind of equal.
Right.
It's like they're slowly coming to our level. Like suddenly everything is reachable. So if there's a time to be creating and if there's a time to get your work out there, it is now. this this is the time. Like there's no excuse not to put your work out there. But it's also very important to have those skills because you can be a sensation overnight. You can shoot a
Right.
celebrity and you're gonna get like 10,000 followers. But the thing is you have to be able to sustain it, or like do you want to sustain it? I've been shooting for like 14 years,
Oh,
and
wow, already?
I was shooting all sorts of things before I started shooting celebrities. So I don't think that always goes hand in hand. There, people have different paths to the level of success, whatever their definition of success is, and it's really different. If their idea of success is being affiliated with a celebrity, then you have to work for that. You have to know the managers. You have to know their photographs. You have to know their angle. You have to study showbiz, but not that's not everyone's goal, and that's
Right.
not every level of success.
How do you define your own success?
I am
Like,
still
what? Sorry.
still shooting,
That's the biggest definition, right? Like, or the biggest factor. You're still working after 14 years?
still working after 14 years, and I still enjoy it. In fact, I think I enjoy it even more now. I'm more excited about it now, and I'm just like you. I feel like I'm 21.
Uh, Why do you say that you're more excited about it now? Like most people would probably be burning out and thinking of doing
No,
other things,
it's like I know how to do more things.
such as what? Like, what were the things that you never thought you could do and now you know how to do them? Besides speaking to people.
When I was starting out, like I was baffled by the lights and the sets and like the mood of the photograph. But now that I kind of know how to do those things and I know I can research to be able to do those things, it opens up so many like doors, and it really opens up my imagination to the things I could do. Because when I look at the photographs I shoot now, I'm sure like 21-year-old me would be like, how did you do that? Like where to do that. So it's gotten me like a little hyper about shooting, and my agency, because I have a manager and an agency who helps me with like meetings and like the business side of things. One of my first concerns that I raised with them was like, I have to have Sundays off because that's my shoot day. Like I need to shoot my own stuff. So they kind of give me my Sundays off for me to do my fun shoots, because I have to shoot even if it's not for work.
I love that Sunday is my shoot day. Still more shooting, right? Never stop shooting.
Like, yeah, they know this. You can ask anyone in the agency. Like, I have to shoot. I'm gonna call like the secretary. Like, Miss, no, can I? Is the office free on like Tuesday? Like, can I shoot there? They know, naman. I have to shoot.
Can you tell us a little bit about these Sunday projects because you've amassed quite a body of work, and they're all very interesting. They could be short films, but they're still, I don't know if you also shoot the video versions, but they always tell a story. They're very cinematic. How did you develop this kind of aesthetic and style? Or even, I'm sure by now you already have like concrete ideas about what you want. How did that all happen?
I can credit this to Edimar. Do you know Edimar Cabiltes? Character
Yes.
artist. He asked me back in 2011 or 2012, sabi niya, oh, Shai, ano yung mga shoot mo na sa'yo? Ano yung personal shoot mo? Eh ako naman, I'm like, what, ano personal shoot mo? Ikaw, yung sinushoot, you know how he talks, right? Ikaw, yung sinushoot mo lang. I'm like, wala. Like, wala ako nun. So that really got me thinking, like, what would I shoot, right? Like, what if I wasn't commissioned for work? Would I actually even shoot? And then I realized I should just shoot on my own. Like, that's such a good idea. And then I tried to remember what was my favorite thing to shoot, like from all the fashion editorials that I did. And I remembered it was a 1960s inspired shoot because I
Okay.
searched the lighting and I always tell the story. It was an editorial for Sense and Style magazine. And then it was the pegs were Madonna. She had a music video where she was in the music video, but she was in a hallway, and then the hair and makeup was going to be 1960s. I'm like, how do I light this? Because the 1960s, especially the films, had a very specific style of lighting. So I looked at photographs, I tried to figure out how to do that, and then we pulled it off. So I loved that feeling. So I said, if I'm going to do personal work, I want that feeling. Like, I want to have that feeling again. So I think I did a 1950s inspired shoot, and that just got it going. Like, every single opportunity I could get after that to shoot my personal work, I would do. And I would get all the clothes from Ukay Ukay and just really source them myself because I had a very specific idea of what I wanted it to look like. I wanted it to be kind of true to the era or as close as possible. And the nerd, I guess, in me came out. Like, I just didn't want it to be like, pwede na yan. Like, I
Right.
high standards. It's like
Right.
I try to set like the bar for myself, like, you can't just say pwede na yan. Like, I want it to be the best possible version of the 50s it can be with the ukay things I can find. So yeah, so that's why I started ukaying as well, because I needed costumes for my shoots.
So that's how it started, your vintage business.
It's not actually a business. No, not at all.
Is it not a business? I thought it was.
I wear these things. Yeah, we only have a garage sale once a year, but other than that, I don't sell my stuff. It's all archived. I separate them by era and colors. It's really just for my personal shoots, so it's kind of a costume.
Oh. So Shaira Luna wardrobe is not a business, but a personal collection?
It's like my outfit diary. I just did put
Oh.
like I'm ilang like me or OTD. It's just my outfit diary. I think people really kind of get curious about the things I wear, especially in shoots. Like, they're always gonna like pull out my clothes and say, "Ano yan? Saan galing to?" Every shoot, like, why are you so curious about the stuff I wear? And then when I say it's ukay, they get even more curious. So I think that's why I tried to put I created an account just for that. And also because I'm proud that I found it in the ukay at like a fraction of the cost of what you could probably buy online. But it's really dual purpose for me, the ukaying, because I really use it for my photo shoots. I do a lot of period shoots. I do a lot of like specific eras. I love the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. So since my first personal shoot in 2011 or 2012, yeah, I've just amassed so many costumes.
Where do you store all of it? I guess you're not going to be Marie Kondoing your place anytime soon.
No. I had a wardrobe made, like I had a closet space made to store all my costumes. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I'm gonna do a tour of this.
How exciting.
Finish it because like the hardwares are closed, so there's still things that we have to construct. But yeah, personal shoots for me are just also one of the most fun things I've ever gotten the opportunity to do. My most personal shoots, I think, was in 2014. I had like 75 um,
Wow.
shoots that year. I mean, I only know because I looked at the folder. I have personal shoots 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 every year. So they're all in separate folders. And that really gets my creativity going. And I think hairstylists and makeup artists also like it because they get to play with
Yeah.
client or without like the pressures of like publishing and stuff. So it's good bonding for us.
And you don't always shoot models, right? You shoot real people, anybody you find interesting.
I'm inspired either by a face or by a single piece of clothing that I saw in the ukay. I think that's where the photographic memory kind of comes back. I can things very quickly. So sometimes like I'll see a person, but I don't have the right clothing or the right location. I can let that go a little bit and I can wait up to years sometimes to be able to shoot that story. But sometimes I can also shoot something the very next day. I really like thinking that my brain sort of has like a filing cabinet
Yeah.
in and then you pull them out when you need to. So
No, it's a visual filing cabinet. So from a child with a photographic memory, you are now creating photographic memories.
oh my god, my parents wish I used that for something else.
What do
Should.
you love about being transported back in time? Like, would you say that you like to look back to a time where things were simpler or different? Or is it like an escape from the current world?
Well, I wouldn't say that things were simpler back then. I certainly don't think they were simpler back then. But I really liked reading. Like I would always get lost in a book. Like I'm sure you know that phrase, get lost in a book. Like, oh my god, you used to own book sale. I cannot.
My dad owns it. He still owns it.
We went to the house in Better Living.
Yes, that's our house.
Like we are right there. Like we went there, and then we had the little cart where you could buy the books. I mean, had I known this, oh my gosh, I would have befriended you long.
Oh, yep, that's where we grew up, around magazines and books.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, books were everything to me back then. And I'm not like a deep, like I don't really look inward. I don't read like heavy books. I really like children's books. Even now I go to book sale. Oh my god, book sale. I buy Roald Dahl and Enid Blyton. I really love
Yes.
books. I love yeah, Dr. Dolittle. So it's always that kind of like magic, childlike, fun, out of this world thing that I enjoy, and I guess that just somehow comes out in the pictures. I rarely have photographs that are like, what is that? Like I don't have photographs that make you question things. I don't really have photographs that are controversial or
Thought provoking.
thoughtful. Like I mean, I'd like to think that my pictures let you feel that you're kind of in there, or
Yeah.
seeing it through a window or a door, because I guess that's how I felt when I was reading books. Like I felt myself in there. If you were in Marlon Rivera's storytelling session the other day, that's what he said. Like a good story always has to have a component of memory and mystery, and I'm like, that blew my mind. I'm like, yes. I guess that's why people like the pictures, because it feels like a memory, but you weren't there. But what is it? Like this is so mysterious. So yeah, I guess I don't really have an explanation for it.
So how did you feel when Summit published your first book?
Ay,
Uh,
nako.
I was quite surprised because Summit usually does more commercial books, and then for us to have published something so artistic and beautiful, not that we don't do that, right? But I think it was very, very brave of Summit Books to have published your book.
I got asked by wait, who asked me? Like someone asked me a year before. Someone Anton asked me again. It's like, hey Shai, we're just kind of wondering like if you'd be interested to like publish a book. And I remember BJ's book had just come out. Push. Was it? Or
Yes.
that had just come out, and then I was like, oh no 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 no, I'm not.
Why
Like,
not?
I mean, I don't even want to be in exhibits. I never considered myself like the kind of photographer who'd have her photos like on print or exhibited or in a book. Like, no,
Why not? Why not?
no. I mean, I just never felt like my photographs were like gonna be on a wall somewhere. That's just really like, no.
Seriously, they deserve to be blown up and displayed for everyone to see, but not
I
for
have
you.
an artist friend, and she's based in New York, and she's always exhibiting in Ayala Museum, and I take photos for her portraits, and she's always telling me, "Shy, just try. Like, I know people like just submit your photos. Like, you can have a great exhibit." I'm like, nope.
Wow. Do you still feel the same way?
Yeah, but we have a print sale that's going on, but it's a fundraising,
Yes,
so
yes.
contribute to that. But I don't think I'm at that point where I want to exhibit my work. I don't know why. So I was pretty surprised when I agreed to the book because I told it was Anton already by this time. I'm like, it's like, Shy, sige na. Like, you can do a book, like, do whatever you want. I'm like, what do you mean, whatever I want? Like, are you sure?
Wow. How often do you hear that? Do whatever you want and we'll publish it.
I was having doubts because, like, that's impossible. Like, this is Summit. You know, there's a very Candy and Cosmo and, like, the books that they publish. So I'm like, I don't believe you. Like, are you sure? Asked Anton, he was like, I was really hesitant. And then, but he kept assuring me that I could do what I wanted to do. But he said, like, of course we're gonna have story Shy because of course it's publishing and it's Summit, and it'd be good for the audience to have something to read. So it's not just a picture book. And I'm really comfortable with Anton and Marla, and I think that's a big part. That's one of the reasons why I said yes to having a book, because I knew it would be in good hands. And I mean, sige na, Summit na rin yan. So takan ka pa.
And can you just describe for our audience what the book was about, or what you did for the book and your ideas
So
for the photographs?
they asked me if I wanted to publish photos that already existed, but sayang naman. I'm just gonna shoot for the book. Hello, like I shoot for myself. Why can't I shoot for a book? And I guess I told them if it would be okay to shoot the way I normally shoot for my personal work, like my Sunday shoots, which are always based on the 60s or the 70s. And then, yeah, sige. And then the idea kind of grew from there, like, Shy, let's do like different eras, right? Because you love doing those anyway. I'm like, yeah, let's do eras. And then what eras can we do? Sabi ko, well, I have a lot of clothes from like 60s, 70s, pwede, 50s until 90s. Because like, if you ask me to dress someone in the year 2000, I mean, that's not a Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera. Wala na akong costume. So the years in the book are really because those are the costumes and the props that I have. And then we decided to make them love stories just so it's more universal, and they're all different love stories that focus on different kinds of love. There's like a love between like kids, and there's a love between a teacher and then a student, and then the love of like a really old guy for his wife who passed. It's just all different kinds of stories that pull at your heartstrings, accompanied by photos. And I think it was such a good combination, Anton and Marla, and how they write. I mean, Anton, of course, I've worked with FHM, and Marla for Candy Girl.
What came first, the stories or the photos?
Well, the title.
Okay.
All the titles of the chapters are songs. So
Okay.
what I did was to list down my favorite songs from each era. So I listed down all my favorite songs from the 50s, from the 60s, from the 70s. We went through them, and then we were like, what would this song be as a story? And then that's how, it started. For example, the 70s was called So Far Away. I love I love that song. So yeah, they just kind of formed a general story about that. But when it came to shooting, because I was alone, I did everything. the coordination. I shot a lot of these abroad, so I had to call the models, I had to book the place, I had to get the van, I had to get food.
Wow. May budget.
But
Nagulat.
just everything, like really what my Sunday shoots are, because I'm really mostly alone during my Sunday shoots. My brother is my only assistant ever, so he helped me like carry the clothes, and then the story would change because there were like factors that came in that were out of control. Like for example, the second chapter was supposed to be a summer camp story, but when I shot it, it was winter, so medyo hindi naman nagbabago the stories, but we had a general like we always kept the title in mind. So when I came back, I submitted the story, the photographs, and then Anton and Marla took turns writing the stories, and so super perfect. And I only had
Yes.
in mind to do the layout. I kind of knew what I wanted it to look like, so everything was smooth. And the editors, like the Summit Books team, were hi, so nice.
Such a beautiful book. And you ended up shooting Marla and Anton for their uh, prenup, right? Not a prenup.
Not
Just
anymore.
inspired by them. And you also shot Ahari, a former beauty editor of Cosmo, right?
That's what
And
that's what
Shane.
I say about being inspired by a face. Like I'm gonna see you like, oh, I can imagine you somewhere. Like I always tell you, like I can imagine shooting.
Yeah, when are we gonna do it?
Oh.
After lockdown.
But yeah, I'm very quick that way. Like I have moments where I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna shoot this. Like I've chased people down grocery aisles.
I'm very flattered, but we should both be in the shoot with our bangs.
This face is not for like the flat image. This is for behind the camera.
So have you been getting like requests to shoot prenups? Because that's big business here. And would you consider?
I always get asked to shoot weddings and prenups and debuts, but I save those shoots for people I know.
Right.
It it I think it's such a special thing to give to friends. So I really mostly do it for people I know. I shot photographer Artu Nepomuceno's wedding to stylist Meg, and yeah, that was special. That's the only gift I can give them. So I try to save it as much as possible for people I know.
So if Sundays are for creative experiments, do you have any personal life at all?
Um,
Just curious.
I
Oops.
don't really, I don't separate my personal. It's like it's mush.
Okay.
Really much because I don't go out. I've never been the type to make lakwatsa. If I do go lakwatsa, it's to the thrift store. I'm always in Bangkal or HMR, or I'm always in the Ukay. I don't do anything else. I shoot. I go home, and if I have to go to the mall to just look at furniture, I'm getting to that age where I'm just looking at furniture. um, I don't really. This is my personal life. Like shooting is my life. Like creating things, I guess. And
Is there any room for love? Cheesy, sorry.
I've been with Kokoy for how many years na ba kami? I've been with him since 2003.
Oh, okay. So that's a very long term.
Very long term,
So
yeah.
when do you squeeze him in?
He's with me all the time because he's the one who drives me to work.
Okay.
I think we both have the same work ethic. Once we start on something, we're just there. We're like fully there. Like it's hard to distract us from things. Our bonding is really going to the thrift stores because we're both pickers.
Okay, cool.
Or things. You see that robot there? That's
Yeah, I have a robot fascination also.
Oh, he made this out of scrap Nara.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, he has been like the MVP during this ECQ. He hasn't missed a day of carpentry or like doing something, and he made it.
Wow.
Have any wood left? Like naubos na niya kaka-carpentry. he had scrap wood left, and he made this. Look at it. It like moves.
Oh my gosh.
So weird. Like
It looks like a Star Wars, is it?
it's a droid.
It's a
Like,
droid.
look at that. Like, who does?
My gosh, your minds are so similar. Like,
Yeah, maybe that's why we get along. We understand when we're in that zone. Like,
how did you meet? And how did you just
gig.
click? Sorry?
Gig.
Oh.
He was a bassist of the band I was shooting, and then
Okay.
he told me, lagi kita nakikita, lagi kang tulala.
Good one. Good opening line.
College when I was like lost. So when I was watching the gig and I was shooting, tulala lang talaga. I didn't talk to anyone. I was really shy. I didn't have bisho. I didn't like nothing. I was really just tulala. That's always how he describes me. Like I'm just always daydreaming. I don't think that's ever went away. That's still kind of me. I'm always like, yeah, and the rest is history.
I know. Wow. Congratulations. It's what, 17 years?
Oh my god, tagal na.
Have you ever shot him? I'm
Well,
sure.
yeah, because when I was shooting the band, he had a lot of photos back then. But nowadays, actually, I've been shooting him every day because he does all these projects.
Oh.
Shy about pictures. Like unlike me, I tend to shy away from the camera. He's the type of like, kunan mo ako. So I'm lucky, I guess, because he likes having his picture taken. Imagine how annoying it would be to have a photographer partner and you didn't like photos of yourself. That would be so annoying. But he likes having photos of himself.
Right. You're perfect for each other. You need a big house for all your clothes and
He has his own workshop downstairs. He converted it into a workshop, and then this whole space is just clothes. And I don't think he likes it so much. He always says, "Dami dami mong gamit," but I'm no Marie Kondo.
you also have a perfume fragrance collection,
Thank you so much
right?
I love perfume so much.
How did this interest start and how many bottles do you have now?
When I trace it back, I did a video 2 years ago, and then I think I said that it really, I guess I was influenced by my great aunts. They were these very like postura, like old ladies with like the most perfect hands and beautiful feet. Those kind of old ladies. And then they had this what do you call that, like a pillar in the middle of their house with like glass, and then they housed all these perfumes. I didn't know what they were back then, but now that I try to remember the bottles, these were like the opiums and the Shalimars. But when you're a kid, like you hate those things, like you cannot stand the smell of old perfumes. But now that I think of it, I'm sure that has kind of influenced me and my love for perfumes. And also my great aunt on the other side of the family always gave me perfumes every year for my birthday or for Christmas. And yeah, I think that's how my love for perfume started. I was just always given perfumes. My dad is a sprayer. Like you can smell him. Like we're on the second floor and then he's downstairs. You know if he's gonna go out. You can smell him.
So what are you wearing right now? I mean your fragrance.
This one. That's what I last used. This one. Oh my gosh, this is so good.
Oh, what is that?
This Baccarat Rouge 540. It's I can't speak French. My son Francis Kirkjohn. Oh my
okay.
God, this is so good. You should try this. It's so nice. Whenever I smell you, I'm always asking you what you're wearing.
Right. And how big is your collection now?
I'd say it's under 100.
Under 100? I thought it was like thousands.
No, I gave a lot away.
You did? Okay.
The ones that I don't use, especially, I gave a lot away. I think my tastes have also changed. I'm trying to get like more like quality fragrances. And I still smell people. Like, you know how I like smell you? I'm like I still follow people around and say, I know what you're wearing. Like even when I'm abroad.
It's amazing.
I think people get freaked out. Like I once approached this older lady at a buffet. I'm like, "Are you wearing Chanel?" Was it like 17? She's like, "Yes." Oh my god.
You could be a nose, like a professional nose in Paris.
I think one of these days. I think I answered a questionnaire once, and then they said, "If you weren't a photographer, what would you be?" I was like, a nose or
A
like a set
nose.
or like a production designer, or costume designer, or something. Yeah, nothing's impossible.
All your senses are like heightened, like your sense of smell and sight and
Probably stops there. I don't have a good sense of direction.
okay. But your brain, the way your brain works, it's so fascinating.
Medyo malikot. I think I know we're the same. I know our brains are kind of
Do you also have ADHD? Because I'm sure I do.
no.
No, wow.
I don't think so. I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure. I don't no, I don't
Do you have many tabs open in your computer at one time?
know. I
You're
have
not.
like a set, but I never have too many tabs open. I get distracted, so I'll close them.
Are
And
you
then
very neat and organized in your home?
yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's so strange. I presumed all artists were like medyo
I even have labels.
sabog, kalat.
Like the best thing I bought last year was a label maker.
Great. You must tour us, definitely.
Medyo makalat to because we're opposites. Like Koy naman, he's really messy. So even if I'm super organized, like there's always gonna be a balance because like you know where he's passed. Like he leaves a trail of stuff.
Do you ever fight? Because I really can't imagine you being mad or upset about anything. You're so chill and cheerful.
Yeah, of course we fight. Like when I'm at home, like I'm like so focused at work. I'm like I get impatient, like especially when I get asked like the same question over and over. Like here at home, it's pretty different. Like I think I'm more patient outside the house, but here it's like what? That's usually my face. That's how I look when I get mad. So, ang laki ng mata ko pag galit ako. Like, it's so big, no? Hindi pa ako galit, malaki na. How much more pag...
you, you've developed quite a following on your social media, and you have uh, all these Shaira Luna fans and followers who really idolize you. Have you encountered any who also want to be photographers?
A lot of them want to be photographers. Yeah, for sure. If there's anything that I guess I can be proud of, I think it's really shown a lot of people, and kids especially, that photography isn't just,
A
some
hobby.
hobby or isn't just something to be like a term to be thrown around like oh okay lang like pwede naman. I think it has also allowed them to imagine and also to daydream. um Even the parents actually, they apparently show like my pictures to their parents, and then that's how we're able to bridge generations. I think that's one thing I can be proud of. I really hope I was able to inspire um you know future photographers.
You've shown that it's a viable career option and not just a passing fancy.
Definitely, and more than that, it's something that can make you happy and give purpose to your life.
And what do you tell them? What do you advise them about um, fighting the fear of uncertainty or even pursuing your passion, even if that's not the expectation of you? If you could distill it in 3 or 5 pieces of advice, what would you like to tell them?
um well, to study hard and not like academics, like learn your skill. You can't just tell the world I'm going to be a photographer but not put in the work. It takes work, number one. It's not going to be overnight. Number two, there are always going to be people who will be against you, but you don't always have to listen to them and you don't always have to fight. I don't think fighting is ever I mean, of course sometimes fighting is good, but that's just not my personality. There's always a way around things. and they have to be curious. You can't think you know everything. You always have to ask, and you always have to wonder why and wonder how. To I think I say that a lot, like never lose the child in you, because it will be hard and it will take long hours. But as long as you're curious and as long as you're wondering what's out there and what else you can do, what your other abilities are, I don't think you're ever gonna you're never gonna feel down, because there's always something to wake up to. There's always something to look forward to, and it's not to take things too seriously or not to be too hard on yourself. Of course, you have to set the bar high, but you also have to have fun. That's one thing I hope they never forget, despite all the hardships they're going to face. Like, don't forget to enjoy, because this is what got you into photography in the first place, because it was fun. So try not to lose that.
So do you think you'll be shooting pictures until you die?
I think so. You know, you said you did imagine you were ever gonna retire, like they were gonna have to.
Yes, exactly.
Like, that's me, but I want to do it in like a 70s dress. Like, I
Oh,
have
of
to.
course.
I'm still gonna have these bangs. We're both gonna have these bangs.
Yes, bands forever.
It has just, I don't know, is there a term for it? Like, I love what I do so much more than I ever have. Like, it's so weird. Like, you think you're gonna burn out and everything. I always get asked that question, like, what do you do when you burn out? Like, thankfully I'm not there yet. Like, who knows if it's gonna come, but I'm not there yet, and I don't want to think about what's gonna happen if I get burned out. I just try to shoot it out. I just try to keep producing. I can't stop, and I really love it. I'm just so lucky, that I chance. Like, what if I enrolled in what if I finished my thesis? Like, what if I continued my third year of medicine? Oh my God, I can't even begin to imagine. Can't, no.
Thank you so much, Shaira. I learned so much about not overthinking, about just keep going, keep producing, not regretting anything you've done, and to always be curious and never stop learning. Thank you so much.
The same. I know you have said the exact same things, because the story is just as interesting and as inspiring.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to have met you and known you and worked with you through the years, and so glad we were able to chat today. And I'm looking forward to our shoot, hopefully sooner than later.
Yes, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Thank you. Bye.